Hello, you guys, and welcome back. If you guys are new here, my name is Shy. I'm a 28-year-old fantasy, body positive multimedia artist, and I am the owner of Terra and Tulip. Welcome to my channel. We have finished our little Miss Alligator Fairy painting that I have been posting here for the last month and a half. All I had to do was finish up the background, which I did that, and we gave our Alligator Fairy a fun little friend in there as well. So we are going to be doing our paint with me for that. And I'm changing up my paint with me a little bit this time. The last few times I just painted. That was literally it. You just got to watch me have fun, and we're still going to have that. But we're also going to be doing a tip video. Because I did this painting for my art show, I decided why not have a video giving you guys tips on how to get into your first art show and tips on what to do once you get into the art show. These tips are going to be on how to find and get into your first art show, tips on event prep, tips on your setup day, and tips on show day to help convert sales, how to find a community once you're into the art show, and just things that make it easier and you may not think about, and things that I have implemented and changed in my last 2 art shows. So I have only done 2 art shows, but I also have a history in sales and events between my own hair business. I also taught as an educator for a large hair color and hairline company. And I used to do charity events at one of my old salons that I would set up and run myself and have to advertise myself as well. So I do have a little bit more background in sales as a whole as well. So that will be a little bit implemented in here. And advertising for events, because you will have to do your own advertising. You cannot just depend on the art show to be the only person advertising for you. I'm sure you want me to get to the painting advice now though, so sit back and enjoy the video. Step 1, finding and getting into your art shows. So there is a few different ways you could do this. So the first way you could do this is searching out art shows yourself. The best way that I would suggest doing this is going to Instagram and typing in art shows in your city or your city name art shows in the search section and scrolling through that, as well as art galleries in your city or art social clubs. You can also Google it or look it up on Facebook. The good thing is once you start looking this stuff up, it's going to naturally just start popping up in your algorithm and you'll have to do less work. They'll just start coming to you. This is actually how I found my venue that I've been doing my art shows at. It was through Facebook, but because Facebook and Instagram are integrated, they knew what I was looking up and the event popped up. I was curious about it and I saw 2 days after I started following them that they were looking for artists for their next art show, and I reached out through that post. A lot of times they're either going to be posting looking for artists and you'll see that on their page that they previously done that, or sometimes it's through their stories, or you could go and see if they have a link on their page and look at their website. Some might have an application right away. And that is one way you can find events and sign up for them. And if they do not have a place that you can reach out to them on their website or set up page for applying to be in shows, go ahead and reach out to them on Instagram directly or through their contact page. They'll get back to you and tell you how to join an art show if they're looking for art shows. And you may not get into the first one. That is okay. Just keep looking. Something will fall into your lap. The second way is having artist friends who suggest events to you. So some of us are lucky enough to already have other artist friends. Some of us are not fortunate enough, and you have to do some networking. Go ahead and ask your other artist friends where they're showing, if where they're showing has room for other people, or how to get on future events that they have worked before. If you do not already have artist friends, join local artist groups on Facebook or start looking up hashtags, your city's local artists. You don't even need to put in a hashtag. You could just look up your city or town's artist or the closest city or town near you. Sometimes you want to go into a bigger city and start following them that way. Go to events, start talking to people. That is one of the ways that I have made a lot of art friends recently, is going to events that I am interested in eventually renting a booth at or showing my art at, talking to some of the other artists about their experiences there. And because of this, I have suggested some of these people that I have met to the place that I show my art at too. And they've joined on to next month's art show. Or, well, I guess this month's art show. We're in March. They're on this month's art show. So that is another way you can find your art shows. And then the third way is an art gallery or event can reach out to you because of your social media presence. So this is something I have recently had happen because of my first art show that I did. And I was advertising for art shows in my area because I was already doing one. So on my social media posts, I was putting in Sacramento art shows, Sacramento artists, Sacramento events, and another art gallery found me and reached out to me. I have not wound up going into there yet. I need to reach out to them. I just wanted to make sure that I could handle this smaller one because where I am showing is a DIY, very small venue, very laid back and relaxed. And I like that. And it was a nice start into the art community. But I do want to branch out and start showing other places as well. So I should probably reach out to the art gallery who did reach out to me about possibly doing shows with them as well. You don't have to already be showing. You can just be using the hashtags your city artist or town artist or surrounding areas of your work to start putting yourself in front of gallery curators. They could come and find you. You have gotten into your show and now it is time to prep. Tell everybody. Shout it from the rooftops. Be annoying. Post consistently at least a month before your event. Sometimes your event will not have posters out yet. You're an artist. Make your own. Use Canva. If you have not used Canva yet, I will link where to sign up for Canva down below. But I have used Canva for as long as I've been doing hair, which is 10 years this year. So a very long time. It is a quick, easy way to make professional looking posters. Or if you're comfortable enough, make your own poster in your preferred digital art program. Only 10% of your followers will see your post. So the chance of somebody seeing your post over and over and over again and thinking you're annoying is very low. The people who are seeing your posts over and over again are seeing them over and over again because they're engaging with your posts over and over again. So they're not going to be annoyed. They're going to be like, yes, supporting you. Post your stuff. Post it. They want to see it. Not everyone's going to see it the first time you post it. Keep posting. Don't just post about it. Tell everyone you come across. Tell your bank teller. Tell the cashier at your local stores. Tell a person who's next to you while you're pumping gas if you end up striking a conversation. I'm a talkative person, so that will happen to me. I know not everyone is super talkative, but At the end of the day, you never know who's actually going to show up. You will be surprised who actually shows up. And the more people you tell, the more likely somebody else is going to show. When I did a haunted house a few years ago, or a haunted trail, it was in the middle of a forest for Halloween, I would tell every single person that I came across, and I wasn't even posting, like trying to advertise like crazy. It was simply word of mouth, me telling my clients, running into people at the grocery store before the haunt and they saw my makeup. And a lot of people showed up just because of that. New clients who I'd never seen before the first time that I did their hair showed up to the haunt. Old clients, somebody brought their volleyball team that they coached. And the same thing has happened with my hair business. My bank tellers have become my clients. Store cashiers have become my clients, and same with art shows. I have told so many people about art shows, and the people who showed up surprised me every single time. People can't show up if you don't tell them about it. Most art shows, you will have a pre-set out size wall of what you're going to be displaying on. Go ahead and ask your event coordinators if they don't already have that in the information about the show, what estimate size of a wall you're going to be displaying on. That way you could decide what pieces you want to bring with you and do a mock setup to see how well they're going to flow if you don't already have a mock setup at home. So as you can see behind me, I do kind of have a gallery wall of all my art. So I already know how I like things pieced together and how my art's going to flow when I decide to set up. Same thing if you're allowed to bring in a table or a small display. That way you could bring prints or stickers or other items that you can't necessarily put on a wall. Go ahead and do a mock setup for that as well. That way you know how you like it and you're not sitting there trying to figure it out day of setup, because sometimes you have a small window that you're allowed to go in and set up. Luckily where I set up, they don't care. You can hang out there as long as you want. For me, I think the last art show, it took me about 2 hours to set up only because of my price tags. Before that, I didn't put price tags up and it only took me an hour, but I do highly suggest putting price tags up, which I will talk about later. Speaking of prints and items to sell, go ahead and get items that are going to be cheaper as well for people to come in and buy. So prints, stickers, small hand-painted things that you don't mind selling for inexpensive. That way, not only with your originals, you'll have something a little bit less expensive. When it comes to pricing and sales, a good rule of thumb is to offer 3 tiers of pricing: inexpensive, medium, and a higher price point. That way you have a range of options for people who have different budgets. People do go to art shows and spend money on originals. I have sold multiple originals. I have sold originals at every show that I have done, but I will sell more prints than originals because sometimes people want to go in and support multiple artists. Prints just make more sense than going in and buying hundreds of dollars of originals from multiple artists. Some people don't have the budget to buy original art, so prints are what's going to be within their budget. More people are most likely going to be able to buy a $15 print versus a $150 painting. So having that option there is going to boost your sales. And I personally have watched the artists at art shows who don't have a print or cheaper option. Those tend to be the artists who don't make sales that day or make less sales because it is less approachable for people. Fun little fact, when it comes to that tiered pricing, usually when you have a low price, medium price, and a high price, people will always go with the medium prices because it's perceived higher value for less. And that tends to be the case in almost any sale situation. And then lastly, when it does come to picking which pieces you're going to bring, if you have a lot of art, or even if you don't have a lot of art, I think this actually fits better if you don't have a lot of art and there's a few pieces that you're like, I'm not sure if I want to bring this because it's not my favorite thing. Don't block your blessings. Just because it's not your favorite doesn't mean it's not going to be somebody else's. Of course, you want to make sure you're bringing things that are quality. You know, we get in our own heads, especially as artists. We are our biggest critics. So sometimes, even if we look at a piece too long, we'll end up not liking it. In my experiences, the things that I thought I wasn't going to sell are usually what sells first. A good example of that is these fun little horns. I made a yellow pair when I made this batch, and I thought they looked like garlic and almost didn't post them, and they are the only pair I've sold so far. Get a big frame and print out your name or your business name in a QR code. I suggest Linktree because you could put all of your links in one place or something like that. So a link nesting platform, I use Linktree because it is free and I could personalize it still within the free option and make it look cute. They do have a premium option that you can customize even more. Right now, I don't personally see the need for that, so I still am using their free account. So I will just take that, put it up in a frame, put it in the middle of my wall. That way people could walk up, scan it right away, not lose it like a business card. But if you do have business cards, I still suggest doing a QR code. But this is going to be cheaper than investing in a bunch of cards for something for your first event. A QR code is going to be cheaper than investing in a bunch of cards for your first event, especially if you don't know if you're going to be continuing doing some. It's quick, it's easy, people will not lose it and forget it. And when it comes to sales, a lot of times buyers need 7 points of contact with a seller before they choose to purchase. So your first point of contact is in person at this art event. They may not buy from you today, but they scan your QR code, they follow you on Instagram. That's your second point of contact. 5 posts later, 7th point of contact, more likely to get a purchase from somebody you have met and was interested enough to follow you. Second, I found once somebody already scanned that, they were more likely to purchase from me in person as well because my Venmo was also there and it was an easy transition. And almost everyone knows how to use a QR code. And if they don't, the instructions are so simple to say, yeah, go ahead, pull out your phone, take out the camera app, scan it, and press the link that comes up. Boom, you have a new follower and possibly new sales later on. Hi, you guys. I just wanted to interrupt the video real quick to let you guys know if you like my art and want to take some home for yourself, I do have an online website where you could purchase my prints, originals, oddities, accessories, and home decor. You could find it in the link tree down below. And I will be launching a pretty little mushroom lady tomorrow. So if you're watching this on upload day, she will be out tomorrow. If you're watching any other time, she is already up and ready for you guys to take home along with any of my other prints. Go ahead and take a look. All right, I'll get back to the Alligator Fairy painting, which she will also be up on the website if you want to take her home. But yeah, I will let you guys get back to the video now. Thank you guys for letting me interrupt real quick. And now we are at setup day. So each event is going to be different. Some will make you set up that morning. Some will make you set up a week in advance. Some will have a set day. Some will book you in. That all depends on your venue and event you're going to be working on. But once you are there to set up, make sure you price your items. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. My first art show that I did last year, I decided to not put prices on my originals because I wanted people to come up and ask me about them. And I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to fully charge for things yet. So I figured leaving it open-ended would give me the option to let people give me an offer and have conversation about it that way. In reality, I realized after my first event, people don't always realize something is for sale at an art show if there's not prices on it. They assume it was already sold or you're not getting rid of it. And some people are shy. They don't want to come up and talk to you. So having a price set right there eliminates that social anxiety of having to have a conversation for some people. After my first event, I did make sales, but I made way more this time, having items priced out and just ready to go. And you want to make sure those are easy to see. That way people don't have to question it. So make sure you're doing it in a bold pen. The lines aren't too thin. That way people could see them from far away without having to approach you. And sometimes your wall is going to be busy with people. So having bigger price tags can help people who are standing farther away see the prices without having to be right on your wall. My next advice for setup day is to talk to the other artists. So like I said in the beginning, having a artist network is nice because you could help bounce ideas off of each other. You can help recommend each other to good art events. You could help shout each other out before the event. So get the other artists' social media contacts, all of that. That way you guys could cross promote with each other for the event. So people are seeing you show up on somebody else's page before the event. That's a new way to get followers as well. And your followers can now look at these new artists as well. So it's a win-win situation. If they've already done this event before, ask them how it's gone for them. Ask them what is the normal crowd, what is going to do better, if their prints do better there, if originals do better, if people are talkative there, if people are more standoffish and it's more silent auction-wise. Just talk to the artist and get an idea of how these events go. Alrighty, you have gotten into your show. You have done all the advertising and prep. You have set up, and now it is show day. My first piece of advice for show day is make yourself stand out in the room. Luckily for me, I'm 6 feet tall. I almost always wear heels in these types of events because it makes me above the crowd already. So people are going to see me right away because of that. Plus my fun colorful hair. And then I really play up my like fairy fantasy style and go ahead and wear full swing of horns, huge fairy wing earrings. I do cute, bold makeup. I fit my wall and I stand out in a room of artists, which is hard to do. Everybody knows which wall was mine from just looking at me. Where I've had people walk up to me on the outside of the venue as I'm approaching, being like, I know which wall is yours. That way, if people do have questions for you, they know who to come up to. They know that this is your wall, you're the artist, this is who I want to talk to. But that's just how I personally stand out. You could stand out in other ways. Another way I like to make my wall stand out is instead of just doing sticky notes, which a lot of people do, or just plain note cards, I went and made a more aesthetic price tags that fit my wall and my branding, and it was reflective, so it caught people's eyes. You don't have to go all out like this, but creating some sort of strong branding and something that sets you out from the other artists is just one way to catch people's attention in a bright, vibrant room, especially with all of the other amazing artists as well. You like to give yourself a little bit of an edge. Next one is going to probably scare off a lot of introverts, but talk to people. I'm not saying be pushy, be salesy, but if you see somebody hanging around your wall and looking at something for a minute, walk up to them, start talking to them about it, compliment them on something, make it genuine. Don't be like, don't make it awkward because you're complimenting something and it feels very disgenuine. If you see something interesting on the person, compliment it. If you just want to go up and say like, oh, like that's my whatever piece, and start talking about the piece, do that. That can usually help tip the scale if somebody was sitting on the fence, because it creates a connection between you and the person looking at your art. A good example of this was at the last show. I had a lady looking at my trinket box, and her friend next to her was looking at my succubus print. And the lady at the trinket box and me started talking first, and she ended up moving on, but her friend was still sitting there looking at my succubus print for a while. So I noticed she had a Star Wars purse on, and I'm a Star Wars girly. I love Star Wars. So we just struck up a conversation about that. And she ended up getting the print. She could have already possibly been getting that print before, but I personally feel like having that connection between me and the customer bridged that gap of, do I want to spend it? I like it. I'm not sure. And solidified that sale. Of course, everyone's different. And the guy next to me, though he was talkative to people, there was points where he was gone and not near his art wall at all, and he was still making sales without talking to people because he did have a self-serve type of buying system going for if he was not there. He also had a QR code and had everything up in sticky notes, the prices, and had a table with the QR code and other sticky notes so that the people could just scan the Venmo QR code, pay, and then write sold and put it over the price tag. If you're not a super talkative person, you can still make sales. But personally, for me, I find talking to people helps when it comes to people who are on the fence about buying something. Acknowledge people as they walk up to your wall, especially if you're not going to be standing out as much as the artist, like my style does. Go ahead, stand by your wall as people approach and look, just say, hi, welcome, how are you? Anything. It does not have to be a long spiel. Just acknowledge them and acknowledge that you see them looking at your work. Don't be afraid to mention any deals you have going on. So buy one, get one prints, stickers, discounts, stuff like that. Go ahead and post it. If you do have something, put that on your wall if you're allowed to with your prices. But don't be afraid to slip it in conversation. If somebody is already buying one sticker and you're doing a buy two, get one free, say, oh, I see you are getting a sticker. If you get another one, you could get a free one. They're going to usually do that deal. So mention it because you might be able to get an upsell. Looping back around to that QR code, mention your QR code. If people are sitting there looking at your art for a little bit, mention that QR code. Say, hey, I see you're hanging out here a little bit. If you're interested in following me on my social media, go ahead and scan this QR code. And after you have them scan that, they're following you and you're going to be showing up for them over and over again. So now you may have not made this sale for them today, but that's interaction can be a sale later on. Oh my God, she's so pretty. And we're finished. And now you're ready for your first art show. Thank you guys for watching me finish this baby up, especially if you guys have watched all the other videos. If you haven't watched the other videos and you want to see how we got here, go ahead and check my paint with me. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and give me a sub. I'm going to be doing more videos like this, other paint with me, some more tips and advice. I'm going to be doing my goal videos. If you have not watched my first goal video, go ahead and check that out on my channel as well. I'll be uploading this month's goal video here soon, and I will see you guys later. Bye.